What's going on, my fellow kino lords? So today I'm going to be reviewing Babygirl, which is a film that's written and directed by Halina Reijn and stars the one and only Mommy Kidman alongside Harris Dickinson. So Babygirl is a film that I actually didn't have the highest expectations for, and really what drove me to see this movie is one, Nicole Kidman, and two, the fact that it's an A24 distribution. I think they actually produced this as well. I could be wrong, but from what I've heard, this is also an A24 production. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on that. What also drew me to the film is also because of the fact that this director also directed Bodies, 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 and that was a film that I really enjoyed. I thought was quite great. It's not the most masterful work in the world, but it's not really aiming to be. I think what it did, what it wanted to do, it did really well, and I really enjoyed that movie. But from the trailer, this seemed like a whole different animal than Bodies, 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 like in a whole different arena, a whole different genre, a whole different approach. And, anybody watching the trailer can, I would understand people being turned off by the trailer of the movie, because we've gotten a lot of bullshit schlock that resembles this movie, at least on the surface. Stuff like 50 Shades of Grey, that stupid Netflix thing, the 365 days, whatever the fuck that is. This kind of like, bondage, humiliation, sadomasochistic kind of like domination, sexuality type of thing that we get. Like we've got movies like that have been absolutely fucking awful. So I can see somebody watching this trailer and being like, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. But after watching this movie, this movie was surprisingly great. Like, I really, really loved this movie. Like, I have so many positive things to say about it. But what I will say first is that I feel robbed, because I was really looking forward to seeing the Nicole Kidman AMC promotion before the movie. And they didn't fucking play it this time. And it seems to me by design. I'm sure they pulled it for this movie. I guess maybe they feel like it would take the audience out to see her promote AMC, and then to see her in the movie, it would feel weird. But personally, I feel robbed. I thought it would have been epic to see her do the AMC thing, and then it's boom, here's her movie. And especially considering the sexual content that's in it. I mean, especially the way this movie opens up would have been fucking perfect. Glorious opportunity that was squandered. But anyway, I mean, speaking of the opening sequence, I mean, that's a huge positive, just outright. Because when it comes to movies that lean heavy on sexuality, I really like it when they just cut to the chase immediately and kind of let the audience know, like, it's going to be this kind of movie. And this movie does that. Like, immediately opens with a depiction of sexuality, and I was like, yes, let's do this. And this movie, again, from watching a trailer, it's really easy to think that it's going to be this surface level kind of experience. Is it just going to be, is this filmmaker going to do this weird like CEO girl power kink thing where she, gets to have fun with the young hunk intern kind of thing? It's really easy to look at that and be like, oh, fuck this movie. But this movie had, I felt like this movie was quite layered. It had a lot of depth. It felt insightful. And considering that this is a female filmmaker, like, you could really tell that it came from a female filmmaker. Like, you could really tell that she was tackling this kind of approach to filmmaking in a way that felt super refreshing, because there is so much emphasis in this movie that explores the frustrations of female sexuality. Just in the sense that female sexuality in general is a whole lot more complex than male sexuality. Obviously in general, things can differ from case to case, but in general, like, you give a guy like a hot donut and he'll fuck the hot donut and he'll come and everything's great. But with women, it's a lot more delicate and complex. And, to see a film that really explores the kind of complexities of that, I feel like was really refreshing, because we hardly really ever get to see that in movies, in my opinion. And I think, like, combined with the whole CEO element and what's expected of not only a human being in power, but especially a woman in power that is also a mother, and how she's still expected to wear all kinds of different hats. Like in the workplace, she's expected to be like this assertive boss bitch, but when she comes back home, she's expected to be a nurturer and a listener and be very like sympathetic. And I think it kind of shows, in my opinion, really explores the kind of psychological clash that women that are in this position in society have to deal with. And again, I think that a lot of that is a lot of the psychological issues and almost like contradictions that they have to face is expressed here through the repressive sexual element of it. And yeah, like I think that the way that, like, first of all, the dynamic between Nicole Kidman and Harris Dickinson, incredible. Like the acting all across the board is incredible, because Antonio Banderas is in this movie too, and he's really great. Like he has to really bring the emotional intensity, especially in the third act of this movie, and he's really good. But the dynamic and the tension between Nicole Kidman and Harris Dickinson is off the charts. Like you really buy every ounce of tension, every ounce of sensuality, every ounce of just the sheer intensity between them. Especially like the first scene that we get between them, where his character really starts to approach her in this very sensual way. Like you really feel it. And I think that's, I mean, huge kudos to the actors, obviously, but I think like for me, the direction is huge play in that as well. Like you really feel it. And I just think like the emotions and the intensity is like so well done in this movie. Like you really feel every ounce of it. And that throughout the entire movie, I mean, it's basically like a 2-hour movie, and I felt like I was never bored. I always felt like within the story, I always felt invested in the characters, always wondering what it's going to progress to. Really buying, like to me, it really felt authentic. Again, the sexual relationship that both these characters shared, the sexuality in general felt really authentic and not just male gazy, in my opinion. Felt genuine. And I don't know, I just feel like there's a lot here, right? Like there's a lot, it was a lot more substantive than I anticipated. Whether it be just one about kind of flipping the script on like the BDSM dynamic, kind of like, you know, because everybody says that dynamic is like kind of, it originates from like the patriarchal mindset against women, you know, having to tell women what to do in this very dominating way, like a very like male centric thing. And if a woman feels like she wants to, you know, be sexualized in that way, that's only because she's brainwashed by the male vision of sexuality. But I kind of like the way that this film explores maybe spinning that around a little bit and not maybe look at it in such a one-dimensional way. It's almost like women taking that for themselves for once, and I thought that was really cool about this movie. And I love how the two characters, by the way, like even though it's really easy to look at it and think that the male character knows what he wants and he's dominating her because he's so experienced, but it feels like they're both experimenting with this together. Like it feels like he is also kind of new to this, and he also needs her to be on board so he can find out what to do correctly about it. And I don't know, it felt layered, and it didn't feel one-dimensional. The characters felt like they had their own thing going on, and I just thought it was really well written. Like this film has a lot going for it, and like there's just a lot of like interesting like there's a whole like symbolic thing going on with a dog in this movie. It's when the film first shows us the the male character in this movie. There's a dog involved, and I think there's like symbolic comparisons going on with that. Also, I think Antonio Banderas' character, being this theater director, kind of also is drawing correlations between his job and sexuality, in terms of how there's this kind of role-playing element of it to it all, and how like there's this very like performative element to it as well, and I don't know, like it just feels like it's a really well thought out movie that wasn't just here to kind of like give men or women some like fetish satisfaction. Like it feels like there's a huge purpose to it. It's artful, and there's a lot of intention behind a lot of the shit that's in this movie. And personally, I really liked it a lot. And again, like I can see, and the thing is with this movie, you can see, I can see people watching it and being like, and like trying to extrapolate messages from it and saying, oh, you know, so what? It's okay for a woman to cheat on her husband. Oh, it's okay for a man to, oh, it's okay for a woman to, like, for me, if I feel like if you're thinking about it that way, you're kind of missing the point. To me, this feels like more of like an examination more than a declaration. And I really appreciated that out of it. Like, it's not a film that is like definitively telling you like this is wrong and this is bad. It's just showing you the events as they come, and kind of what you get out of it is a little bit up to you. I mean, there's some straightforward things here, I think, about communication and the importance of it to your partner, and also how difficult it is to be honest with the person that you love, because you don't want to hurt their feelings. You don't want to drive them away from you because you love them. You don't want to be open with them about the weird things that you're into, therefore, again, forcing you to repress them and seek it elsewhere, where you won't be judged by someone that you have been so committed to and love. So it's just showing like it takes a lot of bravery and courage to come out and be honest about stuff like that. And I don't know, there's just a lot going on here, guys. Like, again, I apologize, just kind of rambling. These car reviews tend to be like that, but I really dug it. Like, I think this is a very well written script. It's incredibly well acted, really well directed. The use of score and soundtrack in this movie is pretty damn good too. And yeah, like, I really recommend people to watch it. Like, obviously it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. I can see people watching it. I think I was trying to say that earlier. Like, I could see people watching it and, you know, being offended by what they think it's trying to say, what it's trying to normalize or whatever. But personally, I didn't view it that way, and I feel like this movie is too layered to kind of come out of it thinking in a one-dimensional way like that. Personally, again, I really dug it. I thought this movie was really great. I love the ending to this movie as well. Again, I think it ultimately, like, one of the bigger things I took from it was the importance of communication, especially with your partner, the one you love. And I just think that this film offers a lot, and I want to hear more opinions on it. I really do, because I haven't talked to a single person who's actually watched this movie, and I want to hear what y'all think about this, because I thought it was pretty fucking good, really good. So I'm pretty sure there's more I could say about it, but I'll just keep it at that for now. I'm gonna give Babygirl a strong 8 out of 10 personally. Like, it was really refreshing to see a movie that's this, like, it was really refreshing to see like a psychosexual movie that was written and directed by a woman, and you get to really see that. Like, I didn't even have to know like that this movie was directed by a woman to know that it was. Like, I didn't have to research it to find that out. I could watch it and be like, yeah, I could tell that the person that wrote and directed this like has an understanding of female sexuality. Not that I know anything about that. I'm fucking terrible, but you can just tell that it's not male gazy is what I'm trying to say. Like, it feels like it's not catering to the male fantasies or anything. At least that's the way I felt about it. But anyway, that's all I got to say about it, guys. Really dying to hear your opinion on this. Really looking forward to it. Make sure to let me know what you think about this movie in the comment section. And if you really enjoyed what I had to say about the film, just give it a thumbs up and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be updated on more film-related content.